also on the tour wine list. And I also have Reenen, your Bushkloof Conclusion 2018. And this is really one of the best wines that I tasted in lockdown. You sent Eamon and I some samples, I think part of the COVID $5 million rescue fund. And that was one of the happiest tastings of my life. And I should also point out before, as people come in, we will reintroduce you, Reenen. But we noticed that the bottle was a bit heavy, and it's a beautiful bottle, but it's aesthetically beautiful. But we have had some concerns about sustainability, heavyweight bottles, and so we had a discussion, you and I, Reenen, and we said, look, the wine is bottled, it's great, but maybe we could offset the carbon footprint of this bottle. And you responded with, thumbs up and straight into it. And it felt, am I right, that you were keen to sort of act on that, and you paid to offset the carbon footprint of the heavier bottle. Is that right?
Yeah, no, definitely. So we're actually trying to phase that heavier bottle out. We've still got a lot of capsules and stuff that the label still needs to be not tapered, that just work all the excess stock out. And then but then I think we substituted with about 4.8 tons of CO2 just to obviously, as you mentioned, to neutralize that carbon footprint. So that was a easy decision. But yeah, we're slowly focusing on moving away from all those heavyweight bottles just to make it look and feel premium, and rather focus on what's inside. Yeah.
Excellent. That's such a good value. Nice one. And so, Reenen, you please tell us first what you're drinking, just as people are coming through, and I'll reintroduce you in a moment. And then, Johan, you can tell us what you're drinking. What are you on, Reenen?
And I've also, it's quite interesting. I'm at the moment I'm in the Bushveld, so I'm in Malelane. So I'm on the south of the Kruger National Park. And I'm going to open a Johan Kruger Pinotage now, wow. In 19. So it's quite fitting for the occasion.
That's awesome.
I can't wait. I haven't opened it yet. I see you got your glasses are full, but I haven't opened mine yet. So
it could be awful. Don't.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Well, we know. And Johan, what are you drinking, buddy?
No, I'm on the Pinotage, Ray.
Everyone flying the flag for Pinotage tonight is fantastic.
Can you believe it? It's just been one big success story. As you know, I'm not the biggest Pinotage fan. So angel funding and your contribution, we designed a Pinotage that we thought would work. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I think when I joined Naked about 8 years ago, I was coming from a wine competition on the outside. And yeah, personally, I struggled a bit with Pinotage, and also, in fairness, a number of South African wines. And when I got into Naked, things, and I think it was coincidental, things just changed and everything just went up a level. But Pinotage now is just this pure red fruit in that sort of Pinot profile, but with the structure around it. And it's delicious. And it's everyone, I mean, a lot of people disliked it. Now a lot of people like it. And yeah, and in fact, it was around that time, Reenen, when so the purpose of this evening's, well, the purpose is just getting together and drinking wine, but we're going to talk about your old vines, Johan, but also as to introduce, welcome to everyone who has joined us on Zoom, and we're here all week. It's our virtual tour. We might be in somewhere like Leeds or Glasgow, waking up in a Travelodge, eating the same dodgy breakfast, and then getting on the bus and traveling to the next place down to Newcastle. And it is as awful as it sounds until we walk in the room, and there are 600 guests, 600 angels who've come in, and the buzz and the energy is palpable. And we carry it. We carry it with us as we go out into the night and celebrate, and then the next day, and it keeps us going as we sleep on the bus and then get going again. But we are in place. We're having our virtual tour. And so far, this is the 4th, possibly, session. We're here all week. So it is with great pleasure that I welcome you on Zoom and on Facebook, but it is also with great pleasure that I introduce to you that way. I'm not sure how it looks on your screen, but Reenen Borman here is one of our newest winemakers. And we have a phrase in Naked Wines, but he's a good old boy, meaning such a good egg, all round nice guy. And Reenen, it was a pleasure to meet you. I first tasted your wines at Cape Wine in 2014 or 2015, a wine fair. And there was just, yeah, head shakingly good. And I tasted your Patats Blanc, I think then. So welcome, Reenen. And I'm glad we have you.
Oh,
Yes.
no. Privileged to be here.
Nice one. And you guys are all mates. I mean, we've introduced Danny Statler, Adam Mason. Of course, there's Bruver. I've been missing some, but Richard Kershaw we had on earlier. But I mean, you guys are just a pack of dudes and dudettes. We have Carmen, the matriarch of the whole scene down there, and it's just wonderful, you know. Whereas in, say, a country like France, where it's so spread out, wine regions, styles, and personalities and characters, when Eamon and I travel down to South Africa, we eat lamb chops and drink pinotage with you guys, and it's just lekker. You know, it's such a wonderful, fulfilling experience. But the quality, I think, that has come through in South Africa in the past 5 years is fantastic, and that we will see in your pre-order, Reenen. We launched your wine, your case. We sold 1,800 cases in less than 24 hours. I think it went live at 2:30 p.m. and we came back into work, or 7:30 a.m. and it was all gone. So either thirsty gremlins overnight were getting stuck in, but anyway, it was one of our fastest sellout pre-orders. And that case, for anyone who is wondering when the hell is that going to turn up, I believe that's last week of October, towards the end of October. That's when you'll have Reenen's wine in your glass, and it can't come a moment too soon. So Reenen, tell us again, whereabouts you're outside of Stellenbosch, where you're typically based, and you're out in the bushland, is that right?
Yeah, so I'm actually on a small business trip in the bushveld. So it's close to the Kruger National Park here in South Africa. So very on the border of Maputo of Mozambique. So I'm quite far away from my vineyards and home, but it's nice. I just did a tasting for a few people as well. And yeah, so slash business slash one or two golf games, and then I'm back on the farm again on Friday.
Wow, slash two presentations, a Zoom call, a virtual tour with your new UK Angels. You're a man in demand.
No, I'm just glad I've got reception and Wi-Fi in this part of the country.
Yeah, you said you had to go and buy data in a town nearby. Is that right?
Yeah. So I'm streaming from my phone. Yeah, I didn't know how much actual data to buy. I don't know how much the Zoom sessions cost, but if by any chance halfway through you see a blank screen, that's my data going away.
Okay, very good. Well, Johan has been prepped, and he's willing to sing us through the final minutes of this meeting, this get together. And Johan, where are you? Apart from being in looking like an interrogation zone, and that you've shaved the beard, you look like you're phoning from the 1950s in yeah. Where exactly are you?
Listen, Ray, we just bottled Old Vine Chardonnay today. Old Vine Chenin for Naked US. So we entering the US market slowly but surely. But what a trip it's been. And you know, me and Sophie has been reminiscing, if that's the right word, earlier today about the amazing journey with Naked since we started, and we can go through all the emotional
please do
things and how Reenen, I don't think you realize what amazing backing you are about to receive or are receiving, not only from Naked staff but from the angels, and for all the angels and archangels who are tuned in and listening. You already know the amazing contributions. You know, Ray, we started with Mathieu, then Maxime came along. Now there's another little gentleman popping out in January. So yeah, it's I can't keep up between the children and the old vines that we are saving with angel funding, but it's been one amazing journey, and I'm very excited for Reenen's what's the right word? Reenen being part of this amazing journey. You know, I tasted his Patats Fontaine earlier today, and I think when Reenen gets the backing that we've received over the past few years into his potential of amazing Syrah and old vine Chenin Blanc from South Africa, just like there's really levels to be met. And welcome, Reenen.
Just no, thanks you. No, yes or no. I mean, it's a real privilege, and thank you for saying that. No, yes, I mean, I know you're a nice guy, but you don't have to go all out like that. Just.
He's calling.
But I'll give you that case that I promised you for those nice words. So.
No. I'm more after the children. I need playmates for my kids.
Yeah.
I really look. You're from. I mean, your father is a winemaking legend himself, and from the Cape Wines Guild, and Boschkloof Estate is in a very special location, site, let's say, in Stellenbosch. And you know, it would be. You know, I've seen it over a number of years, and you taste it, and it just speaks of, let's say, pedigree, or like you've got the whole thing sorted out. You know, the look of the wine, the taste of the wine. You go, yeah, they're on it, and they've been doing it. It just feels established and characterful, and it would just be great if you could share with Angels a bit about where you are situated and what makes your site so special, because your wines are just this, like, just that little step up above others where you go, yeah, that's smart kit. Can you tell us?
Yeah, so it's I can actually go back when my father was still winemaker for La Motte in Franschhoek. Let's say probably about 20 years ago. He got a little bit of grapes from Reenen. Reenen, that's a farm close by to us in Polkadry in Stellenbosch. So they still bought grapes from Reenen. And I think you worked with those grapes from this area where Boschkloof is now, and Reenen as well, back in the days. And then when they started looking for a property, he said the first place he wanted to look at was that side of Stellenbosch where all the granite is. After working with those Syrah and Cab grapes, he just felt that's where for him the quality of Stellenbosch lies. Maybe not quality, because there's a lot of quality everywhere, but maybe the almost diversity in quality. So it's a soil type that's a lot of cultivars is doing quite well on. So and then, long story short, they looked into the Polkadry area. So it's the hilltops just outside Stellenbosch, on your way to Cape Town and False Bay. So it's a little bit more elevated than Stellenbosch. I think we're about 200 to about 250 meters above sea level, but we face False Bay. So we see the ocean actually from our side of Stellenbosch. So they bought about 17 hectares in that area of vineyards. And I think not the trick, but I think where the magic lies in that area of Polkadry is firstly all those decomposed granite soils that gives that structure and freshness to the wine, but also a little bit of that maritime influence, where we're actually quite, but I think about 4 to 5 degrees cooler than Stellenbosch, the town itself. And so really, it's small stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah. So what does a cooling influence mean? Why is I perhaps we've over previous Thirsty Tuesday discussions, we've understood that soil can sort of give different, structure with granite or broadness on loam or various things, but an ocean influence. Why and how do you benefit, or do your wines benefit from it?
For what I found with our wines is for me, South Africa doesn't need ripeness. So we've got the African sun. So we get a lot of ripe fruit flavors quite easily. And our grapes tend to ripen quite quickly, more quickly than a lot of other places. So I sometimes feel where we get that warm days, that almost cool maritime influence just cools the evenings down more quickly, and then you get that more subtle, slowly longer ripening period.
Right.
So what we get is, in the end product, hopefully, what we hope for is we get a wine that's ripe, but it's still got a nice, fresh, almost vibrant component to it. And I think that makes the trick in especially red wines for South Africa.
Yeah, very good. What I'll do, what we have been doing occasionally, Johan, you were there in the early lockdown Thirsty Tuesdays that we've done. I would like to show a few people what I've been tasting, and with it, I'll be able to introduce a new wine as well. So what I'll just show you is, so I work from home, and that's lights off, that's lights on. Yeah, that's the way it works, up, down. Okay, so this is where the magic happens. So as wine director, the wines are sent to me before they're bottled, and I taste them, and I'm privileged to taste some awesome wines. I'm also unprivileged to taste some less than ready wines. But one wine that I tasted today, I tasted many yesterday, as we would have gone through on that Zoom call, but this is, well, you won't be able to see the label, but Reenen, this is your Montague White. And it is, okay, the label is dodgy, so it has been bottled, but it hasn't been labeled. You'll do that in the second process. It is outstanding. It is so lush and vibrant and saline. In fact, I'm actually going to bring this back and have a glass of this. But when I sit down again, maybe you can tell the angels what this is, where it's from, why you did it, when it's coming. But this, I wouldn't overhype it to say it's the next big thing, but it is such a revelation, and it's so cool we're doing it. Eamon and I have been discussing with you a long time this wine, and now we have it here bottled, and it's so rewarding. I'm glad we did it. I'm really glad we persevered, because there was challenges, but we got there. So that's bloody fantastic. We'll tell you more about that. And then
Ray, just I'm glad you like it, because I already ordered the labels. So otherwise it's
I tasted it as quick as I could today. I was like, better taste this jungle juice. It could be rubbish. And then just two other quick ones. Murbai, also from South Africa. This is the Cabernet Shiraz, and more Pinotage. Can you ever have enough? Too much Pinotage. Murbai Red Ridge Pinotage. It's delicious. It's pure versus yours, Johan. Yours has perhaps more structure and warmth, and this is red fruit lighter. So two different styles, definitely Pinotage, both great quality. And then Katie Jones sent me some wine as well. This is her Syrah, Petit Trans Syrah, more of that to come. So let's take this back, and I'll probably need a new glass. But Reenen, can you kick off and just tell us, what is Montague? Where is Montague, and why are you doing it?
Right. So you can fill in or chip in whenever you want, because we actually started speaking, as you mentioned, about 6 years ago at Cape Wine. So it's been quite a road to get to where we are now, and I'm glad we kept in touch. So Montague was just a side project of ours with me and two friends, and one of my friends' father-in-law had a special property in that area. So Montague is about 2.5 hours drive, more or less, east from Stellenbosch. So you go, they call it almost the gateway to the Karoo, the area of Stellenbosch. So it's not known for fine wine, but there's a few valleys and hilltops and mountains where you get special pockets of of vineyards and an amazing slate soils and fynbos, and it's a unbelievable terroir and setting. So we started making wine from that area, and it just started to snowball when people started tasting the wine from that area, because it's not tasting like anything. I think Chenin specifically is recognized as, because it's a lot more mineral, there's a lot more spice driven in the wine, it's got a different texture to it, and I just fell in love with that area and with that wine. And when we started talking about making a wine for Naked, I wanted to pitch that area, because I thought that Montague is an area that I think not one of the angels has tasted wine from before.
Absolutely.
So I thought that would be very interesting. Obviously, giving Boschkloof wines, that's our family vineyard, to the angels is fantastic as well. But just to give something special and something off the beaten track, and something maybe they don't know or haven't heard about. So that's where I think the whole motive came from, to make that wine. Yeah.
That's it, Reenen. Perfectly said. It's what we call a discovery wine, off the beaten track, and where you do venture and will to venture off, that you will be rewarded with quality. And in fact, in this instance, also price. This will be $8.99 when it comes in, and which is ridiculous. I'm tasting it now, and we just had Richard Kershaw on a Zoom previously. We were talking about fine wine, and Stefano de Blasi, who you know, Johan, and
Yes.
I can still taste this wine on my palate after 30 seconds of tasting it. It is so vibrant, so it has strangely a saline element to it, but you might just call it mineral. But it's what Eamon and I were determined to, just get out to customers. Is like South Africa has just been producing some absolutely fantastic wines. They're probably, it used to be second to France. It might be number one against France in terms of number of bottles sold at Naked Wines, whether it's France is number one or South Africa. But, we've got Arabella, and we have Bruver and Carmen and Johan. We sell so many. But to take people, and this is what the Naked model does, and the Naked model only exists because of the angels and the 20 pounds. So basically, you're putting your faith in myself and Eamon, and you can be assured that I have vetted these two guys numerous times. I've asked them to open all their best wines, and then I've said, yeah, okay, they're all excellent. And but we've found this region, or Reenen, you found this region, Montague, and it is a step into the unknown, but it's more about being a leader rather than the sheep. And you are a leader in this area, Reenen, and it is a privilege for Naked and the Angels to jump on early on and to fund it, and you won't be disappointed. I think it is an outstanding, beautiful. So what does it taste like? First of all, can you tell me the grapes, and then I'll share with the guys what I think it tastes like.
Yeah, so it's majority Chenin and with a dash of Colombar. It's I think what makes that wine special is I make a similar blend with on a very smaller scale called Patats Blanc, and I think that's where the almost motivation came from. But that I make a little bit more austere and a little bit more reductive, and with this one I approached it a bit more openly, and I wanted some of that almost mineral fruit to shine out rather than being almost backward. So it's quite drinkable as well earlier on, I think, that I quite like. But it's all in the soil. It's always all in that slate soils where you get that fruit flavors, but there's that almost mineral core to the wine, and I think that's what makes it special, especially that texture and that mineral freshness. Yeah.
And I would say for customers, and then Johan, I welcome your contribution in here, but it is, I mean, I might be punching it a bit, but really, I would sort of put it in the same sort of flavor textural profile as Chablis. It has a linearity, so it's fresh, racy, and a nice little sort of apple, melon, fruit character to it. It's a fantastic wine, Johan.
Hey, Reenen, there's a generosity to this wine that always comes out from older vineyards, which me and Reenen work with. You know, I always go back to the conversation. It's like having a chat with your grandmother. There's so much wisdom and generosity that comes from a conversation like that, or from a wine or glass that Reenen is pouring, or you've been tasting tonight, Ray. That's just amazing. You know, you don't get it in young vines or necessarily new world countries. It's really just, yeah, generous.
Yeah, very special. And so, Johan, you're almost becoming a part of the furniture at Naked, a stalwart and a hero. You were last year's winemaker of the year. You're very popular anyway. Can you tell us just, you were on with us in lockdown, one of the first sessions we had back in probably April or something like that. For those who missed that, who are watching on Facebook or on Zoom, can you just give us a real quick snapshot of when you joined Naked and what it meant, and those little sort of pivotal steps along the way? And you did share with us at the beginning that there's children coming out your ears, but how did it begin for you, and what was the transformation?
Ray, you were there right in the beginning. It was an emotional time for us. You know, we started with a family farm, and then we parted ways. And I met the love of my life, Sophie, and we started our family. And sure, right from the beginning, Naked and the angel funding embraced us and our dreams. You know, and I'm a bit of a thinker, like Matthew, our oldest son, is, and having a shower earlier, thinking of what's coming up tonight with Reenen. Sure, Reenen, I know you from trying to sell a little case here in Joburg to a restaurant, and a case here to a wine shop in Joburg. The awesome thing about Naked Wines and angel funding is you could almost step back 1 or 2 footsteps and focus your passion and your energy into the winery and the vineyard and the winemaking and the wine quality, and just allow, well, Monsieur Ray and Eamon and the Naked team to sell your wines. And just, it's just this amazing empowerment that the angels give you with angel funding to make the wines of your dreams and focus on quality and not necessarily on sales. Ray, does that make sense? I'm not sure.
Johan, that's it. I mean, you've written.
I was up for this morning.
You've written the manifesto and pamphlet. That's exactly it. The idea is, if and when, and actually it happens that angels put in 20 quid every month. It enables the winemaker to focus on the winemaking, the vineyard, and the quality, and not be traveling, flying around the world, or even up to the bush playing golf. No more golf for you. You know, it removes the cost of sales and the cost of marketing and the cost of travel and wine fairs. You're still able to do it if you want to, but you almost don't need to do it, because we say, we'll take this amount of wine, we'll pay you now if you want, we'll pay you in advance, we'll buy the grapes what you want, and you just crack on, you just put your head down, just make the bloody good wine, and that's it. And then I'm here as a collaborator to ensure that, you know, you're happy with the wine. But that's it. Angels allow you to work on wine and not work on airports, crappy hotels and stuff like that. And it is amazing. And Naked is 12 years old now, I think. And it works, and angels have made it work. And Johan, you're testament to that. So thank you for summarizing it. That wasn't prompted. Well, it was prompted because I asked you, but it came out of you naturally anyway.
Yeah, you know, it's a monster. If I think about the ratings and the potential that Reenen already has, and you take away the pressure of trying to sell and market the wines, and you could focus angel funding on Reenen's talent. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Angels are in for a treat, I tell you.
I think
And,
so. Reenen is really one of the best. Your wines are truly, and back then in 2014, whenever we met, I thought, well, they're definitely some of the best wines in South Africa, no doubt. And I actually, okay, this is a bit gushing, but I actually thought you were untouchable. I mean, we had a chat about Patats Blanc, but I thought, you know, your Reds and Stellenbosch, I was like, you know, maybe we can never reach those, but it is a bloody privilege to be drinking it tonight, and that it's going to land. I was one of the first to buy it. Yeah, so it's great. We're all in good hands, and everyone's lovely, and the world is great. So let's get on.
I never thought my job is going to get more stressful, but
no pressure, man.
Suddenly, I need Ray or Toby to approve it after I bottled it. No, that feels.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, you've provided an opportunity for me to explain, but.
I've never concentrated and stressed so much bottling a wine before, because usually I just have to like it.
You know, the big thing is DO2s and CO2s. If you've got that, you sorted.
Yeah. What the guys are talking about here is I'd say the rigorous quality control process we have at Naked's. And yes, what we do is we ask for the winemaker, okay, yeah, you can have all this money and you can play golf and you can just focus on the wine. But when it comes to bottling, we need to make sure that the quality of the wine is good for the angels. They paid for it. They're your customer. They own the wine. You're serving them. And so you guys, before you put lots of liters liquid in a tank into glass bottle, because when it goes into glass bottle, then that's a lot of sort of, you know, it just goes into a whole different sort of spread of cost and so on. We ask to taste the wine from the tank to make sure the quality is good and that it's not cheap rubbish, and we don't expect it to be, and also that the style is right, so that it is, if it's going to be a big rich red, that it's a bloody big rich red and not a weedy sort of light-bodied red. It needs to speak to what people are expecting. So we taste it and we write notes. Sometimes we're very direct, but it's usually constructive. So then we give you a green light and you bottle it. Everything can go wrong in the bottling, you know. Things can go wrong, things happen. And so, and then we taste it. We ask you, Reenen, to send us a bottle from South Africa, sent up to us, and we taste it after you bottled it to make sure that you, with respect, didn't mess it up. And we taste it and we go, yeah, it's crackerjack. And 99% of the time it's crackerjack. But when it's not, we are not, you know, we have got a duty to the angels to make sure that the wine's good. And then we ship it up to the UK. And before we sell it again to the customers, before it goes out, it's in the warehouse in the UK, we taste it again just to be sure that nothing happened in the shipment, too much heat, any form of anything that would compromise the quality. So that was a moment, that was a little bit of a soapbox moment for me to sort of explain the quality control processes at Naked, but which is why angels might be enjoying the wines as they are, because you're not tasting the wines that we didn't let through the net. But thank you for setting me up for that.
If I can say something, Reenen, when you get to those, what's the right word?
Challenging moments, conversations with Ray.
Yeah, checklists of DO2s and CO2s. It's not necessarily negative criticism. It's steering you to be the best of you. And that's the amazing thing about Naked Wines. You know, you'll think, okay, Ray is saying my Muller is a little bit to the left or to the right or whatever. It's not a criticism on your winemaking, because us as winemakers can sometimes be a little bit sensitive. But in the end of the day, a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right makes your wine successful, and the appreciation of the angels so much more. You know, it's all about some symbiotic relationship. Is that the right word?
Symbiotic, yeah.
So thank you very much for always giving great advice. And Ray, well done in your MW.
Ah, thank you very much.
I have to.
Thank you. Okay, well, I appreciate that. I'm back to South Africa. Okay, so I appreciate it. So, and also one last thing, as you're advising Reenen, the last thing to say on that topic, Reenen, is you will be blessed with multiple feedback from customers. So they'll comment on the wine, from the angels they'll comment on, and they'll be like, I like it. It was vinegar. I put it in the stew. You know, it's all sorts. But that can help steer your well, you know, it can help you understand what people are appreciating. I'll give you a quick example while we still have a bit of time. Is that lots of people watching tonight will know Bill and Claudia Small from New Zealand. They make small Sauvignon Blanc. So we started with Bill and Claudia in the very beginning and bought a container. We didn't know what we were getting. It came in. It was fantastic. The comments started going on the wall and everyone was loving the wine. Then Naked Wines UK, Naked Wines opened in the USA. And we said, well, I'll tell you what you need to have in the USA is that small Sauvignon. So we sent this container to the USA and they launched there. And the comments on the wall in the USA, honest feedback, people just being kind but direct, it was less appreciative. It was like, this wine is acidic, this wine is sharp, it's harsh. And what Bill and Claudia did was almost created a word cloud of the words, the commentary that was being shared on there. And they realized, as some of us may know, that the palate in America might be different in the UK. They prefer riper, sweeter, more generous things. Perhaps that's a complete generalization, I appreciate. So what they did was they completely changed their viticulture, the grape growing of the wine, of the Sauvignon. And so they went down for, instead of cooler vineyard or in the higher altitude, they went down to lower sites, warmer, riper, more exotic, more passion fruit. And then in the fermentation, they just kept all those fruity, and they made it literally, it's still Sauvignon Blanc. It's still from the same vineyard, but it's just from a different part. And they made it literally a different, in a sense, a different profile of Sauvignon for the US than they did for the UK. But it enabled them, it brought them success in the US by listening. My point is, by taking on board the constructive feedback from the angels, it's vital. So anyone who's watching this evening that tastes a wine, please write anything you like on the wall. Don't be rude or political. And just write just what you think about the wine, and it could just be like, yeah, it's great, makes me happy, thanks very much, good night. And that's it's very useful. Or just say it's too dry, it's too tannic, anything like that. So that you will see, Reena, and you'll have the pleasure of replying to everyone. And it's a beautiful community. It's, I step out of it now, or Naked steps out of it. It's you and the angels.
Yeah.
So Reena, I've done a lot of talking. What I would like to do is we have some questions coming in on our Q&A. And I have to go through them as slowly as it sounds. Could Johan compare his, this is a question from Wells, it's simply titled as Wells, it was one of the first comments earlier. Could Johan compare his Old Vine wine with Mateo Reserve 2019, which we love? So you have a number of Old Vine wines, but let's find the more relative one. And how does Old Vine to Mateo?
Old Vine Cinso are what do you call it? Berries. So less concentration, but the older vineyards give amazing generosity in the wine. The Mateo Reserve is crunchy, small berry, Shiraz, Cabernet, mostly Stellenbosch. So it's Old Vine Cinso, lamb chop. Mateo Reserve, big, crunchy steak, T-bone. They're both red meat, but different beasts.
Yeah, vegan and vegetarian options are available. That's in the director's cut. You have to pay extra for that, and it comes there. But thank you for the analogy, Johan. That's great. We have another question from Prakesh. Johan, what would you say characteristics or differentiations, let's say, or what differentiates your Pinotage? So how would you identify your Pinotage? We talked about Redridge over there, Redridge Pinotage from Moorbay. So describe your Pinotage?
Older vineyards, granite soils, small berries, good concentration. There is a little bit of, I don't want to use the word coffee chocolate. There's a little bit of oak influence, but there's focus, red currants, beautiful structure, and again, a Pinotage you could do with a great barbecue or braai, as we call it,
or a salad. Yeah, so there's more to it. So Alex has asked, Johan, any collaboration going on here? I'm assuming he or she is referring to you and Reenen, and in terms of, have you guys ever talked about doing a gig together?
Not good, but on the old vines, we might just look for a potential, great potential pocket of old vine, either Chenin, Colombar, or something, and do something. You know,
I'm just finding my feet here, but that will be a big privilege for me to do a collab with Johan. No problem.
As long as it's one.
I'll do the grinding, because I'm the younger guy here, and I'll do all the hard work, and Johan can sign it off like you do, Ray.
That's the
yeah, we'll a team.
So, but look, I think, Johan, given your popularity or your success to date, it would be great, and you've got a great number of wines on our side. It'd be great to know, those who are watching on Zoom or on Facebook, what is your favorite Johan wine from Johan? So, Johan, in this instance, I'm going to ask the audience, as they would do, and there'll be boom, just like that. What favorite Johan wine? And there are many. You're going to have to scroll and think out. You get one vote. I think you only get one vote. Okay, so we'll watch as those votes come in, and then we'll go back to the questions. There's Pauline Dawson, one of our archangels and one of our great to hear of you, which she asked, Ray, don't the wines on your window ledge get spoiled by the sun, or do they not last that long? It is the latter. They don't last that long. So I put them over there as I'm about to get started into it. So I sometimes taste at midday. I usually taste around 3 or 4 o'clock. And as the seasons change and as the light change, but yes, absolutely something to be aware of. And it'd be a shame to have them spoiled there. Melody Grenwell asked, what are you doing to plan ahead for longer term climate changes and water shortages? A fantastic question, given, I guess, the droughts in recent years. Before we answer it, we will just jump into the results of the poll, and it looks like a strong favorite for 32% of people love the Pinotage. Hurrah! Oh my God, Pinotage has never had such spotlight and love and attention. Johan and Reenen, will you please tell, there is a Pinotage Association. In fact, I think Darnie Stadler, who's joined us, his father was president or chairman or, something or other of the Pinotage Association. So, well, you heard it here first, people. You love Pinotage. Thank you. Thank you for voting. I appreciate your involvement. I guess, guys, Reenen's on it. I'm on it. Everyone's on it. Johan, would you like to just quickly comment on that in terms of plans and mitigation, or just addressing climate change and water shortages, because you've been hit by the droughts recently?
Sure. It's amazing. We can never foresee what the future holds. You know, we all planned for drought for years to come, and all of a sudden our dams are full.
Yeah.
And we're back to square one, as Coldplay puts it, you know. And I always have faith that things will always, it's a pendulum. Things will always return back to normal, which just happened. Our dams are full. We don't really have issues, but climate change is probably not something to ignore completely. Mediterranean cultivars, Ray, we've spoken about Palomino. We've spoken about Grenache, Cinsault, varieties that are more prone to hardship in drought.
Mm.
So it's a difficult one. I don't want to say today that I embrace climate change and therefore we're going to make the best Palomino in South Africa. I still believe that the pendulum will shift and things will become natural again. But you never know. Yeah, so it's a hard one to answer. Right.
I guess the other, I mean, of course, there's, and then there's some challenges around it. And really, it'd be good to get your view on it based up in Stellenbosch. But there is, I guess, a water drought is a good question. And we're getting a little bit heavy, but you could say, you know, you have things like you're putting down sort of straw on the ground to retain water retention in the soil. There are steps and methods where you can reduce your requirements or your your need for water, your reliancy on water. And the world of wine is sharing this learning to avoid or to mitigate drought. Yeah. And Reenen, do you have a view, or without being so, you know, we've got enough on our plate with a blanking pandemic, so, you know, just keep it light. But what is your view on how we might manage it?
I agree with you, Johan. Especially cultivar wise, we should focus. South Africa was obviously a country that planted everything everywhere, so it's not all suited as they should, and we're starting to phase out of that era. We're starting to plant what's suited and what's adaptable to those climates. So more Mediterranean cultivars is gonna be well suited for our terroir and climate. And then I think we should start focusing, where I'm on your side even more, Ray, we should start focusing, stabilizing our soil more organically. We have to start farming a bit more in that direction, where it's all about cover crop and giving a thick mass and putting stuff under the vines to keep soil moisture and to feed the vines long term in that sense. So it's small steps, but all in the right direction. It's forcing us to go into the right direction. So it's actually maybe a good thing in disguise, I think, having a problem like that and then forcing us to think a bit more for the future rather than short term.
Yeah, very good. Okay, no, that's good. It's worth touching on it. So we'll go one more question. Let me see what we got coming in here. So your let me see, Pauline. It's another one on climate change. Mike said, I personally feel that South African Chenin has really improved and become more complex and varied over the last 5 years. Could the guests comment on this? So why have we seen such a step change in the quality of South African Chenin Blanc over the past 5 years is the question. Johan?
I think there's been recognition of finding older vineyards which would normally end up, as you all know, in a cooperative system, now potentially becoming uplifted, what's the word, empowered into the hands of good finances or winemakers. So the potential is there, you know. It's always been a case of tasting South African sunshine through Chenin Blanc, with the right, call it financial partners, or partnering with the right winemakers through angel funding. There's been a enlightenment, is that the right word, for these vineyards. And you know, Ray, I always say, it's as if you could taste the gratefulness of the vineyards to still be alive in the quality of the wines. And I stand by that.
Yeah, good. It is an industry really that sort of sat up and realized we are sitting on some really good stock here, and lest we let it pass. And so I think it was a movement of people that just sort of retained old vines, kept them going, and at every price point, amazing.
Indeed. Yes.
Cooperatives that own their vines, their vineyards, that were able to produce wines at a more affordable price, up to the sort of the great wines of South Africa.
Yes.
No, it's a great question, and thank you, Johan. That explains a lot. I think enlightenment is a good one. I think that says a lot about South Africa. Past 5-10 years, yeah, that's it. So most of the wine I buy is from South Africa. I love it. Just to watch this sort of step change. And speaking of great wines, Reenen, we already did a pre-order on your wines. There is another pre-order of the same wines. So let me stick that in Q&A. Where do I stick that? Or maybe my dear colleagues, I'll stick it in chat if I can do that. Can I chat in chat? I'll just stick it in there. Okay, I've just put it in there. But otherwise, if I've messed that up, the great team at HQ will clean it up. But it's basically, yeah, if you didn't get a chance to get your hands on Reenen's 6-pack pre-order back in when it was a month ago or so, it's live on the site now, and you can go again. And I put my hand on it. I stand by it. All the wines are crackerjack. They're such great quality wines, and it's really cool to have you on board, Reenen. So tell us, when you go back, what are we now? September. That's your spring. Are you in early spring there?
Yeah, just actually had a good winter for a change, as Johan mentioned. So don't want to complain like the cliche farmer. So if it's raining too much, suddenly now it's not raining the right way or when we want it, or so we're very appreciative of all the water and rain, but can't wait. I'm now in the dry season. Obviously, in the bushveld it's a summer rainfall, so I'm now in quite a nice setting here where I'm currently at. So when I go back, it's probably going to be quite pleasant weather. Spring, Western Cape, oceans, everything, yeah.
Lovely. Lekker brew. And we have time for a couple more questions, which will really contribute to the discussion this evening. But Mark Bonsell, thank you for sharing this question for the guys. If you could make a dream wine for Naked, what would it be? So again, Reenen, we'll keep going with you for a moment, and then Johan, you've probably slept and dreamt and thought about it in the shower a number of times. But Reenen, tell us, what would you do?
Dream wine for Naked. So I don't know why that collab with Johan is up front in my head now, but maybe in the short term future, something pops up that makes sense. And Johan is obviously a genius with old vines, so I can learn a lot from him with regards to that, and I can maybe tap into that knowledge, and then contribute with some of the stuff I have, and make something special for the angels. That could be nice.
That sounds awesome. That sounds great, Reenen. And Johan, I mean, collab, pretty much sort of bubbling away in the ether just as we start to talk about it. Outside of a collab, is there another wine, another variety that you aspire to making for Naked?
I think we've had a bit of a quick chat around Palomino, which is a sherry variety. and a portion of the Scarpioen from Ibn Sadi. I see a great potential on that grape variety from older vineyards. Combine that with a little bit of Chenin and, as I say, as Reenen said, old vine whiz, maybe from Reenen. Yeah, so you never know, but you know, Ray and the Angels know this. Wherever we can savor old vine and contribute to the quality of life of a farmer, I'm all for that. With a quality winemaker as Reenen, let's go for it. So yeah, let's get it going.
Awesome. Great. Last question, a wine to recommend from you guys with Turkey. I'm anticipating that is, it was a capital T, suggesting the country. I'm going to take a wild guess, meaning the bird. So white game, white meat of your wines. Actually, I think your Pinotage would be pretty smart with it, given that it's going to be probably roasted. But what would you, maybe your Sanso, Johan, a little lighter. What do you think?
Sanso with lamb works.
Sorry, turkey. I know you only think about lamb, but I have to correct you. The question is turkey. Yeah.
I would say Reenen Syrah.
Reenen Syrah with turkey. Okay. So that is a beautiful but generous deep red wine. So you'd need with the turkey perhaps, you know, a good amount of cranberry. You'd need all the condiments. You need a sort of a deep gravy, and so it's more the surrounds than the actual bird, so to speak. Reenen, what do you think?
Bird, old vine, Colombar from Reenen.
I'd go along with that. Yeah.
I'll actually go with one of Johan's lighter reds, maybe like the old vine Cinso, or where it's a bit more subtle together with the turkey.
Yeah.
But I've tasted that Cinso as well. He gave me a bottle the other day, so that went down quickly. So
it goes.
It's not like I didn't eat anything with it, but I can imagine turkey going on.
I was seeing turkeys and talking turkey, so yeah, turkey. Let's go along on turkey. That sounds good. Well, guys, it has been fantastic catching up with you. It's just, you know, your mates. Yeah, I have the privilege of tasting your wines and the new wine, the Montague, which we will be releasing, I think, a pre-order on the Montague. That's the white I showed earlier, and the one that I've put a good dent in October, and it will be delivered, I think, in February. And like I said, it's going to be $8.99. And actually, the more I taste it, it's probably more Chablis Riesling. I think it's even like that's sort of tight linearity, and it's such a blinking crackerjack wine, my kind of wine anyway. So thank you for sharing or giving up your time to be with us. It's just brilliant to have the band back together. Reenen, you're the new drummer. It's great to have you in, and it's cool. The future is bright, and for everyone who joined us this evening, all evening, yeah, this is the third Zoom session we've done this evening. Thank you, and we are back tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. with our final marketplace deal. It is the French Fancies. I don't know if that's the real official title for it, but it's French. And we will have a number of winemakers from that mixed case. So there'll be a marketplace going live tomorrow evening. Eamon and I will be on there to talk about the wines and talk with some of the winemakers on there. That will be a real hoot. And then you'll go on and you'll have Katie Jones and a bit of a sort of a culinary session. That's at 8 p.m. And at 9 p.m., you've got Jennifer Buck, who was really one of the stars that we discovered in the lockdown, friend of Benjamin Darnaud, who'll also be joining, and she'll be talking about how you know what has happened since that massive occasion when thousands of people supported Jennifer during lockdown. So see you. Please continue to enjoy where we go until Friday night when we have the grand finale with Stephen DeVette of Arabella. As you guys will know, Stephen. So keep on rocking in the free world, virtually naked. Thanks for playing. See y'all later. Thanks for joining, guys. See ya.
Cheers, everybody.
Hey,
cheers,
Ray.
Cheers, pal.
Ciao.